Permeation arises out of the nature of faith itself. Faith is fundamentally a relationship with Jesus. It's born out of a recognition of the truth of who He is, the Son of God, Savior, the one who leads us to the Father. And that recognition calls for a response, a self-gift to the person of Jesus, a commitment to follow Him.
I think permeation has to do with the way that we do business. And as a Catholic educator, it's kind of all about the details. It's about bringing our faith to whatever we do, to our interactions with our students, to sliding in those faith pieces when we can. So yeah, it's just that sort of infiltration, of our faith.
Permeation is like a full meal deal, where the entire experience and the environment supports in mind, body, and soul the lived experience.
If that's the case, then this faith must permeate all of us. It permeates the classroom and it permeates the curriculum. We know that for sure. We need to strive to understand how to do that ever better. But permeation can't stop there. Permeation has to inhabit and infuse all that we do, extracurricular activities, the way that we present ourselves in the community, the way that we relate to outside groups. And in order for this to happen, the faith has to permeate the person who's involved in Catholic education.
Permeation, in my opinion, is bringing about spiritual awareness and going deeper through our faith formation in terms of seeing how we can tie it to our curriculum. It's very important to connect us deeper, but it's also very important to look at how we can see Jesus.
It's making the presence of Christ present in the classroom, or on the sports field, or in the gymnasium, or in the kindergarten class, or wherever we happen to be at that time. It's making sure that the presence of Jesus is there, and making sure that people know that the presence of Jesus is there. Just by the way that they act, by the way that they treat each other, by the things that they're taught. Everything comes back to our one teacher, that is Jesus Christ. Jesus is the one teacher.
As teachers, we are role models, but also as administrators and as a teaching staff, we are all role models in the school. And I think it's so important for children to be able to see how we are role models through Jesus Christ. And those children, I believe, will follow in that way.
What we do is, first and foremost, we try to establish authentic relationships with our students, staff, and parents. We feel that brings about our foundation, all that we do in having that strong sense of relationship. And then what we want to do as well is then take our students on a journey where they can think deeper in building their capacity with their learning and bridging it with curriculum.
Thomas Groom has an expression that he uses that says each one of us has a God-filled hollow in our hearts, and that is where we find our faith. And out of that heart is where we want to experience the infusion of our faith and our God in absolutely everything that we do and we say, and in our everyday learning as well.
So our faith permeates us. It inhabits us and informs all that we do. This applies to us, of course, as individual disciples, but it also applies to any institution that is dedicated to the fostering and the handing on of the faith, such as the Catholic school. So the Catholic school must be a place, must be an environment, well, in fact, it has to be a culture that is fully infused by or permeated with this wondrous gift of faith.
In teaching the various subject or core material, including religion and the arts and the science, the approach is always is that it's filled with God. Nature and creation and the beauty of everything that we find around us is not dissected into individual units, but is this we recognize that everything that we have, including faith, science, and reason, are really gifts of God to be explored. and to be entered into fully.
We really try to involve the students as part of that whole learning process. So the teacher will then pose those inquiry faith-based types of questions, and we try to have our students go deeper in making those relevant and purposeful connections with the curriculum. Through that transformation of with our faith and connected curriculum begins to come evident with the student learning. Examples would be the students want to engage in different types of carousels where they focus on each one of those subject learners, one of those subject units that they do learn, such as math, social science, language arts, and then they'll have activities engaged pertaining to those subjects in bringing around their faith with that.
Our schools are places of welcome, witness, wonder, and also worship for our children, where we experience the permeation of faith in terms of learning and in terms of daily actions in everything that we do. And I think it's so important for us to understand that whole sense of what permeation is, in that it is an infusion into learning, everyday learning, and that we try to do that in all our subject areas, but also an infusion into the behaviors and actions on a day-to-day basis of our staff and our students.
Making choices when we're planning, lessons or units or curriculum. But then, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's also part of who we are. That there's I think we're responsible for developing that faith piece in ourselves. And so I think we bring that to what we do. And so much of teaching is in the unplanned moments. A student says something or we read something, and we were never scripted as teachers. So I think it's being open to the moment. And I think that's part of every subject area.
There's nothing more important in the universe than giving our children an opportunity to have a relationship with their Creator, with their God who created them and who loves them. And that's why it's so important. The most important thing that a child could learn is to know their God and to know God's love for them. That will build them up and make it possible for them, it will lay the groundwork for them to learn everything that they will learn after that. And it will teach them to respect themselves and to love themselves, and will teach them their value. It will teach them what they can accomplish. It will teach them that God has a mission for them. Give them that sense of purpose that they need, the sense of mission that they need to reach out to the world and to be what God intended for them to be.
Because it helps me appreciate everything that I have, makes me just happier, and I learn how to say no to temptations. It helps me, and it just helps me become a better person, and yeah.